Hello, everyone. This is Devon Morris, the Unfiltered Call-In Show, and I'd be remiss not to have a conversation with you on Labor Day. We're not having a regular show today. Obviously taking a little break, but I want to make sure this is released. First and foremost, hopefully you have an amazing Labor Day. But the thing is that there is a definite connection between Labor Day, what Labor Day means to all of us, Scrum, and it's really kind of this ode to a modern work ethic is the way that I think about it, right? In the U.S., we celebrate Labor Day pretty much the first Monday of September, and it's really a celebration of achievements associated with labor, contributions that workers have had, work ethics, innovations, the evolving nature of our professions, right? And if you think about that, one of the biggest contributors to our modern work ethic in today's world has been Scrum. Yeah, Scrum has a lot of foundation in IT. Probably people would say project management. Probably people would say software development. But Scrum, along with Agile, has always offered insights into how modern work principles have revolutionized productivity, period. Also, the creation of value or focusing on the actual value stream. So I want to talk about that a little bit, and then, hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of your day. Now, the first thing that I'd like to talk about is collaboration. One of the biggest contributors to innovation is us pulling together our diverse thoughts, our diverse mindsets. And if you think about what Labor Day is really all about, it is truly about the celebration of all workers coming together to create the type of environments that we have today. You think about back in the 30s and the transition to the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and look at IT in general over the past 20 years and artificial intelligence now. Just the collective work efforts that we've had, have helped to move us, right? But that takes collaboration. Now, the thing that you all know that is built, that Scrum is built on, is the idea of teams working together, cross-functional, self-organizing teams collaborating, right? Or people in general collaborating. That collective knowledge helps to push efforts, initiatives, projects, products forward in some kind of way. And so there's always this big focus on collaboration, because that really helps us to achieve things in the same spirit that you will find that Labor Day truly honors, okay? The second thing that I would love to acknowledge is continuous labor, right? One thing that has happened in the U.S. is that we've been very dominant country in terms of labor, in terms of what we produce, in terms of what we ship out, even in terms of the things we take in. But the idea is that takes continuously working at things, that continuous labor. And the thing about Scrum is Scrum recognizes labor as ongoing in an iterative manner. And if you take any Scrum, agile method whatsoever, there's normally some iterative nature to it or incremental nature to it, right? There's normally an opportunity to get have some transparency, opportunities for inspection and feedback, and delivering working product, improving on that working product, constantly working, constantly pushing toward making things better is also in the spirit of actual Labor Day. So I think that continuous labor is also a big deal. Another thing that Labor Day acknowledges historically is work ethic. And let's just go beyond just simple work ethic down to pushing for better working conditions, pushing for fairer labor practices, pushing for things to be fair regardless of your race, sex, creed or anything else, right? Just finding ways to evolve our collective work ethic. I mean, if you think back to the days of, the Pullman labor riot, or you go to other times when there's been major movements, people still to this day are trying to put together unions, right, to make things more fair for people, right? We got, the actors, the writers on strike at this point. All those things are about getting more fair work conditions, but having work ethic that is important. And if you really think about the essence of Scrum or any other agile method, we pull in reviews and retrospectives, try to make work conditions better, try to make the ability to get work done much easier. And so with that, sustainable workloads, work-life balance. You think about clear communication. You think about regular lessons learned, right? We build this in the Scrum, and realistically, if you look at the Agile Manifesto and its principles, you'll see it in its principles as well, right? You'll see it all over the principles, right? Scrum doesn't say anything about work-life balance, right? It doesn't say anything like that. But the Agile Manifesto does talk about that. It may sound a little bit dated, but it does talk about sustainable pace, and that's just foundation for really work-life balance. So just another one of those really, really important things to think about when you think about Scrum. So the evolution of work ethic is another thing that you see that kind of align these two. Another thing, I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but there is a big emphasis on creating value. So Labor Day isn't about just working for the hell of it. It isn't just about working just for the sake of working. It's about producing value for this world that we live in. Most of us, regardless of what we ever worked at, we want to have purposeful work. We want to work on things that mean something to us, that contribute to the greater society in some kind of way. Even, when I'd work in fast food, I'd want to try to make sure my customers had a better day so they can do great things, right? And so we think about that, but that goes back to the creation of value. And if you really focus in on Scrum or any other agile method, you'll find that there is a focus on the value creation. There's a hyper focus. If you go jump into lean, there's a hyper focus on value creation. You think about a prioritized product backlog. You think about delivering or changing requirements even late in the game, right? These are ways that we try to create the right thing for the customers, and then we want to find ways to tighten up that chain of events, the value stream, right? We want to find ways to tighten that up, to shorten that, to get that cycle time down. So we do this all the time, and we just work through that over and over again. And it's really an ode to Labor Day, right? Because it's part of what we've always been doing, right? Another thing, right? I think this is the fifth thing, right? And I think I'll give you a bonus one. Change. The ability to adapt to change is extremely important. And I think that anybody that's worked in any type of environment knows that change is inevitable. If you go from the industrial age or the industrial revolution, let me say that, to the digital age, right? You will see that there was an endless amount of changes, right? Endless amount of things happen, right? New things pop up all the time. New ideas change the market, right? So it points toward a celebration of the adaptability of our workforce. You think about something as simple as war, right? And you think about assembly line, changing over their production so they can produce wartime materials, right? The pandemic was a perfect example, right? There was a lot of manufacturing organizations that started making masks. Right, started making masks because they changed the way that they was going to do production. And so we always have this ability to adapt to change. And we find that adaptation, adaptability, regularly is what you're going to see in Scrum, is what you're going to see across any agile method whatsoever. At the minimum, to get that feedback so you can decide whether you need to change or not. So you'll find that adapting to change is almost built into our soul, right? And so you want to make sure that I just want to make sure that I acknowledge that, right? Not anything that you need to make sure. Just make sure you acknowledge that that's a part of this. And last but not least, this bonus is not even a number, right? Here's the deal. One thing about Labor Day that I think is extremely important is that it celebrates all workers. It celebrates all professions. It celebrates anybody that's putting work in, right? If you're putting work in, we celebrate you, right? And I think that's something that we need to do even more when it comes to our Agilists, our Scrum teams, anyone that's working within any Agile method whatsoever. We should be celebrating them, right? Whether you call it a product owner, Scrum Master, the developers, software developers, testers, people that do the release management work, right? Database administrators, right? I'm talking about everybody. Every role is absolutely essential for what we're doing. Every role adds to what we're doing and should have a voice in what we're doing. And with everyone having some kind of voice, it will actually collectively help us move forward, because we win when we listen to ideas that are brought into the table, right? And recognizing people for being valuable and recognizing the contributions that they've made, we should do that on a regular basis on our teams. We shouldn't just do it one day a year, like on Labor Day. It's an amazing time to do it. We should do it throughout the year. So my statement to you is make sure that in this ode to Labor Day, you take a moment to celebrate you. On that note, I'm going to say thank you. I will see you next week, and we got a new topic we're going to be talking about, but hopefully you had an amazing Labor Day, and enjoy. Have a good one. Bye-bye.